This is James Kane for EDU 526. We are doing graded assignment 3.1, a presentation on a strategy for dealing with must be right parents. The strategy that I chose was the first one on page 70. Parent walks into the school at the front counter at the office, wants to see the AD now. Basically, they're irate about the fact that their child has gone through camps. They've been a part of the program for several years. They've done everything that they were supposed to do, and yet they're still not receiving playing time from the coach. They're cussing, they're loud, they're causing a scene. The AD has done a great job acknowledging that the parent is angry, has done a great job calming down the situation and taking it back to his office, and pretty much lets the parent vent about the issue. The parent says that Coach Johnson isn't fair. For this video, we're going to assume that we are talking about basketball. Just reading this is kind of what it sounds like. Anyway, the parent's son, Bobby, hasn't missed a practice. He does his schoolwork, never cuts class, been on the squad for 4 years, and still does not get to play, which is completely out of line according to this parent. He was a regular player in 8th grade, but now he's not playing as a senior. One of the things that I feel like the AD may have done wrong in this case is already has asked the parent to talk about Bobby's skills as related to his teammates, which I personally don't think is the AD's job. I think that needs to be done in a coach's meeting with the player. So I noticed that and kind of immediately had a red flag on it. The AD did a great job asking the parent if they've talked to the coach or Bobby, and kind of have set up a potential meeting with the coach and the parent and Bobby. The parent basically says there's been no communication, and the AD responds by saying, I can ask the coach to bring his charts and player stats. Again, I don't feel like that's the AD's job. There's a lot more to playing time than just stats. Basketball is a very subjective sport, so there's a lot that goes into determining who is playing. Different minutes in games. So I think that's a coach's question, not an AD's question to deal with. And one of the things that this situation brings up is, does this school have a line of communication, chain of command as far as communication goes with parents? On the screen here for my video is an excerpt from our basketball handbook, which deals with playing time. And basically, it talks about how basketball is a very small team sport. It's the smallest one there is. There's only 5 kids on a team at a time. So during cuts, even before cuts, we have a parent meeting to make sure that we communicate that there's going to be kids that make the team that do not get playing time or as much playing time as they want. There's going to be kids that make the team that play virtually the entire game. In a large class school, it's very competitive, and almost everybody that plays basketball was, good in 8th grade, paid a lot of money for training, was good in AAU, everybody had a youth sport experience that they feel like was very successful. So nothing changes this parent's mind as far as how good their kid is. However, they don't realize that everybody else had that same experience. I think the main thing here is to settle this, the coach needs to talk to the player. That's our first rule in our chain of command. The player and the coach meets. After that, the player, if they're not satisfied with what the coach says, the player and the parent meets with the coaching staff. And then after that, after a few days, if they're still not satisfied, then the parent, the player, and the coach meets again along with the AD. So that's kind of a chain of command that can head this issue off at the pass. We don't know yet what kind of communication happened between the coach and the player. All we know is that this parent is angry. Many times when you sit down and have these meetings with parents who aren't happy, and the player is not involved, you come to find out later that actually the coach and the player have had communication on several occasions, but the player has not relayed that to his parents just simply because they don't want to, and they don't feel like talking to their parents about it. So I think a chain of command would be ideal in this situation, and obviously having the coach and the player openly communicate about it is the way we would handle this.